Greetings, everyone. Welcome once again to the Azina Arcane YouTube channel. I am the man behind the anime girl. Joining me once again are my good friends, the first of which is Mad Matt,
Evening.
and my other friend, Ojunix.
Good evening.
Today, we're going to be discussing our individual top 5 video game waifus. We're going to go in a circle here and rotate for each number. We're going to start with number 5, which for me is Cassie Cage from Mortal Kombat. She was technically only in 2 of the games so far. She was in 11 and Mortal Kombat 10. I like the way her Mortal Kombat 11 character model looks better, but I would have rather she had the short hair from Mortal Kombat 10 at least available as a costume option in that game, because I like her a lot more than Sonya because she actually has a personality unlike Sonya. But the
Ouch.
but the thing is, them deciding to give her the freaking ponytail so she's got the same haircut as her mom and makes her look more like she's a Sonya Jr. instead of her own individual character, which she felt more like in the previous game. This is
Hmm.
the only real downside to it. Probably one of the few things holding her back from being higher on my list. She's a beautiful blonde woman that kicks ass, has personality instead of just being generic military grunt, and beat up a god at one point. So,
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
there you are.
Matt, your turn.
All right. So my number 5. I was actually kind of struggling, and then it finally dawned on me. Oh, wait, that's right. Obvious pick is Rosa here from Final Fantasy IV. I don't know about the rest of you. I know a lot of people like Raida and them from 4. If you're really into any little girls in 4, but Rosa always struck to me as the kind of romantic lead, especially given that she's constantly trying to look after your main character. And he especially needs it early on, being a Dark Knight and not really being particularly suited to it, character wise. He's too much of a good person, and he finally upgrades to a paladin with helping from her and others. So, very important character. She's the lead white mage for the party when you need it. And again, the big emotional support for a lot of what goes on with the main character and the main plot. So, just kind of an easy pick for me, at least back in the day. Don't think of it around her as much as often lately, but I have been working on some of the older games, so it was probably destined to pop up again soon. So just kind of all of a sudden remembered her and went, "Oh yeah, she was kind of a big one for a while there, wasn't she?"
Yeah, I can admit she's probably the most apparent romance character of like anyone in like any of the Final Fantasy games, because it's pretty much declared at the beginning that she's the main character's fiance.
hmm
I don't think any of the other
She
games get
she
that
she's
clear.
very much attached to him, and they by the end they definitely are betrothed. Yeah.
All right. Ojunix, you're number 5.
My number 5. For number 5 for me is Cortana from Halo.
This is
Uh,
probably the least surprising one we're going to have for me as far as somebody's choice.
besides the super intelligent AI, unlike the AI we are dealing with, um, she is surprisingly a pretty somewhat a complex character. For even though she doesn't have as much screen time as the Master Chief does, but she's always a constant voice in your head, clearly. Kind of making her both a backseat driver, but also a voice. Base. She is more or less the voice there to keep Master Chief keep him focused on the mission, but also try to make sure he doesn't lose his cool when he really needs it. Even though Master Chief tends to come off being very mellow, but he can surprise you, and that's why she's there, because she chose him. Of all the Spartans she could have chosen, he was the one, and they were a perfect match because, as it is explained in Halo 4, he was kind of basically broken. Cortana was there to fill that hole, and considering all the shit they went through, I can understand why the Master Chief, realizing that she's going to go rampant, immediately starts breaking down and trying to think any plausible way to save her when in the universe there's no way you can save an AI from replicity because it's basically a failsafe. They're not meant to live forever. And of course, so when she makes the ultimate sacrifice to stop the big villain of 4, and she says her final goodbyes to Chief after so many years, she actually gets to actually touch him because AIs don't actually have a physical body; they're just data. And she says her farewell. It just shows immediately after that Chief is back to being broken again because she was the only one to see him as human, where most everybody else in the world see. If you're a Covenant, you see him as a demon, but if you're on the human side, you saw him as a hero or some kind of super soldier. She saw him as a human, and she was like a heart for him. I always kind of like that aspect. So yeah, that's my number 5.
Next at number 4 for me is one that I remembered about last year when I replayed The Wolf Among Us, and that is Bloody Mary
Oh,
from
oh God.
The Wolf Among Us, which is why anyone that's following me on social media might have seen a couple silly webcomics I had done with Azina going out of her way to try to get together with Bloody Mary because I think she's freaking hot, and she's one of those characters that's terrifying that actual mortal me would be worried about getting killed by her, but I'd probably still try to, to get her attention. It's just the first scene you encounter her in, she makes just a complete mess out of everything. She's one of those intimidating characters where it makes them hot. That's I can't really explain it much more than that than without going into big detail about the story. So that's my number 4. Mad Matt, your turn.
All right, my number 4, and also was kind of another one that I was coming in high on, but I went, oh yeah, that was a character that I liked a lot as well, and that's gonna be Felicia from Darkstalkers. I
Oh,
believe she was one of the first cat girls I was ever aware of. That introduced a whole pool of things to me.
I think she was pretty first for a lot of people.
Was a main hero character on her own right. Defends people. Apparently falls in love with a werewolf, and being a big werewolf fan, I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, just a lot of interesting things about her, and of course, a design that's not hard on the eyes either. Does not hurt anything at all. And I just like the Darkstalkers franchise in general, and she happened to bring me right into it very quickly. So yeah.
She had some good moments in the anime.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the anime was pretty good. Yeah,
oh yeah.
the actual anime, not the weird Saturday AM TV show.
Nobody talks about
Yeah,
that.
that didn't happen. Unlike the Street Fighter bad cartoon, that didn't have any good moments in it. Ojunix, you're number 4.
My number 4 is Sarah Kerrigan from StarCraft. She is both she starts off as a good guy, and then becomes one hell of the most tragic characters in that series, because she is literally taken by one of the alien forces, the Zerg, and against her will is pretty much molded and metamorphoses into a human Zerg hybrid, and becomes one of the most evil characters in that series as the Queen of Blades. And yeah, it's just a whole long story that, at first she seems like she's just following orders from the Overmind, the leader of the Zerg, and then the Overmind gets killed, and then she takes over, and holy moly, she is unhinged and almost seems to be unstoppable, and until StarCraft 2 comes around, and then the whole other shit goes down. But when you go look back in the Brood Wars for StarCraft 1, she is frightening. But of course, then you just learn her whole backstory, and you're just like, this girl just did not had any happiness until she was in a rebellion force with the other main human character, good guy, where they fall in love and all that. But then she gets kidnapped and turns into that, and then the other guy is like, I'm gonna have to kill my girlfriend. It's like, yeah, good luck on that because she is powerful. Also, just her design is just both scary, but also just really appealing. So that's my
Yeah.
number 4.
Yeah, I remember not like seeing much art of her back in the day, except for the face shot of her on one of the covers,
Mm.
which,
That was the majority of the art outside of a tiny sprite that was like 5
yeah.
by 4 pixels big.
But
Yeah.
I always, I'm sure most people probably found that face pretty back then.
Oh,
Mhm.
It wraps back around to me for my number 3, which is Cammy White from Street Fighter. There would have been a point where Cammy probably would have potentially been the top of my list, but things have changed since then. But a lot of people loved Chun-Li back in the day. I was just kind of like, when I saw her. And then when Super Street Fighter 2 came out and they added Cammy, something about her just was perfect to me. I probably the fact that I'm a guy that likes legs a lot. Like that's a big thing for me, and she's got the booty too.
she's got cake.
she's
and
got legs.
and
She
honestly,
knows how to use them.
even when they kind of screwed up her storyline in the original game, which ended up getting retconned into being something else later, she still just seemed like a more interesting character than Policewoman, whose dad got killed. I don't know.
Fair.
Maybe it's just
Yeah,
me.
I kind of agree there. Yeah.
Also, I like blondes. That's probably going to be a noticeable theme with me on any kind of lists like this. So that's my number 3. Matt, what's your number 3?
Funny thing is, I'm into redheads, and I have very few redheads on this list.
Yeah,
You
I mean, I
fool.
have a similar thing.
That being said, here's a brunette. My
Hmm.
next number 3 is Mary from Alien Syndrome. She's probably one of the first like tough, active female characters I'm aware of that I had in a video game at the time. And yeah, Alien Syndrome is just a crazy, wild ride that technically feeds a lot of ideas off of the Alien franchise, but it still does a lot of its own things, like Avocado Man over there. For some of the people that are seeing the image, there might be video footage of it too. I'm pretty sure. But also all the art for her, like, just completely rocks. Even if the sprite work doesn't work for you, the onboard imagery for her usually will. Almost everything basically shows her as looking like a marine from the Alien movies, blasting things and having crazy headgear and 80s hair. Just one of the most kind of wow, that's interesting kind of moments that kind of broke out for me, and has stuck around. And now I finally have a copy as of recently of the game now for myself as well. So there we are.
Nice.
I may be jumping the gun, but I think you probably just picked the most obscure one that's going to be in this video.
Maybe.
I mean, I thought your first choice was already because I don't really hear a lot of people talk about FF4 at all. I mean,
That's because
FF4 is one of the best Final Fantasies,
you're
but
you're talking to the wrong people. That's why you haven't heard people about Final
that,
Fantasy
that
4.
that's also fair. Dang.
Ojunix, your number 3.
Number 3. It's gonna be a very obvious one for you, Ozzy.
All your choices
Um,
so far have been.
Number 3 is Jill Valentine for Resident Evil.
I'm going to pause you for a moment because I just want to point out
Yeah.
something funny about you doing this. Cassie Cage just barely bumped Jill off of my list. So if not for that, we would have actually had the same character on both of our lists. But go ahead and explain.
Yeah, so Jill now I will admit for a while, for at least early on back on the PS1 games, the classic trilogy, um I originally probably had a lot more interest in Claire Redfield because 2 was the first one I played. But when I played the remake on the GameCube, and of course, afterwards replaying Nemesis 3, the remake, 5, and Revelations 1, where I think Jill just kind of overtook my spot of favorite girl from Resident Evil, at least in terms of badassery. I mean, she goes in not knowing how to deal with zombies, and then just suddenly becomes more and more badass as she goes on in her career fighting against uh, bioweapons. Still not a fan of what they did with her in 5, but that's just my personal thing. But I mean, she still makes up for other things, and plus she got to appear in the last CGI movie, Death Island, I would think it was called.
Yes.
Which we did learn because of the side effects of the whole thing that Wesker did with her with the thing that was attached on her chest. It's basically, and of course, having the Nemesis virus remnants still in her bloodstream after it was cured from 3. She's almost basically has become immortal, or at least she will slow. Her aging has slowed down to a crawl.
Yeah,
So
when you see her and Rebecca both in that movie, Rebecca looks older than her in spite of the fact that Rebecca's actually younger than her.
yeah. So Jill is going to outlive her, but well, actually, depending on what the leaks are from Resident Evil 9, but I won't say that out loud.
She'll be the
Yeah, Jill's gonna,
she'll be the Resident Evil girl version of Master Roshi.
and she'll still look good doing it. Anyway, that's my number 3.
Okay, so now my number 2, this is one that Ojunix probably would have seen coming,
Oh,
is
yeah.
Yuffie
Yep,
from
yep.
Final Fantasy VII.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
And
I
I will admit it is kind of weird that in the remakes they've given her like more of a baby face than her art back in the original game did. But I still have like a massive attachment to her because I mean I was around the character's age when I actually played the game. And, unfortunately, fictional characters don't age, which is something I talked about in another video recently. And any of you
Mhm.
that watch that or that are watching this know Mayel's not going to be on my list. She wouldn't even be in the top 50. But Yuffie, so many people hated her back in the day just because of the one moment in the game where, as part of the plot, she steals your materia, which causes
yeah.
the harder situation. But it's like, okay, but that's just a gameplay mechanic. Like,
Mhm.
don't hate the character for that. I thought she was cuter than Tifa or Eris, and she's got a lot of spunk and energy. Just, be careful when recruiting her and don't do anything that will cause you to move away from the screen or she'll steal your stuff and run away. Don't ask her name. Make her chase after you, then you give her her name. In the original game, I haven't actually played the remakes yet, but I've just always loved her design, and I like the tomboy short hair look because even though they didn't make it on this list, like Sakura from Street Fighter and Rebecca from Resident Evil are pretty high on my overall list as well. So that's my number 2.
Mhm.
Matt, how was your number 2?
Oh, my number 2 is yet another very strong female protagonist. I don't know if many of you have ever heard of her. Her name is Samus. I mean, I'm used to her just being the robot suit, but when I found out there was something underneath that robot armor, I was kind of blown away as a kid. Besides that, I mean, she's the start of the Metroidvania craze for action, side-scrolling adventures. I haven't played too many of them, sadly, but what I have played, I have always generally enjoyed. But I've also made sure to stay away from some of the well-known bad ones too. To be fair, so one of these days I will get to finish some more of her side-scrolling adventures, and I've generally enjoyed what I've played so far. Super Metroid 2, other second mission or something like that. I forget what it was. The one where it's like a bio thing tries to attach to her.
That's a
Zero
Fusion.
Mission.
The Zero Mission.
Oh, Fusion. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Zero Mission is the remake of the first game.
Okay. Yeah. So Metroid Fusion was one of the ones I got like at least halfway through for sure. Was doing pretty good, and then I got sidetracked. It was a thing. It was a thing back then for me. Really enjoyed it when I timed though with it, and I've enjoyed some of them, and I still own a few of them at least. Some of the older ones. I need to get some of the newer ones that are a little bit easier to get through, I think. But yeah, I always generally liked her games, and I haven't seen a design of hers that I hate.
Samus probably is like the purest example of a character that can have the beauty of a princess, but just be a badass anyhow.
Oh yeah,
yeah. She
takes no shit from space pirates and fights giant space monsters. Hell yeah!
I was gonna say she was doing the girl boss thing before girl bosses was a girl bossing.
The original girl power of the 80s and 90s, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, she got it right the first time, but apparently nobody got the memo.
So then, Ojunix, you're number 2.
My last top two are gonna be interesting for obvious reasons. But anyway, so number 2 is Tifa from Final
Oh,
Fantasy VII.
yeah, that is interesting considering each one of us
I
has
mean,
at least one Final Fantasy girl on their list.
Ta-da!
yeah, going
It's
back through
inescapable.
well, I was going through my favorites, and I will be honest, it's this probably overall because I have recently played the remakes and started Rebirth. I really, really just love Tifa in this. It's just they took what the aspects from what the original and really amped them up. And I mean, besides that, she just looks beautiful. Um, she is tough ass fighter. I mean, she could punch a mech like it was made of paper mache and not break a bone. But at the same time, she has a kind heart. She has a very mothery personality. Watching Barrett's daughter when he's off doing stuff. And of course, her complicated relationship with Cloud, but for obvious good reasons. Also, just somehow she just makes working out look easy, and I'm just like, damn, I wish I could do that so I could look that good, or at least this fit body, not the anyway. But yeah, I think just she just has a lot of the good aspects of what the lead female character of the Final Fantasy group tends to have. You want that they're there to comfort everybody or make sure everybody's okay, and try to make sure that the main character is still pushing when he's feeling at his lowest. So, yeah, that's my number 2.
I think you and Matt just back to back had 2 of the characters people would most expect to be on one of these lists.
Wait till you see. Well, you're gonna love
yeah,
number 1. You're gonna love number
Well,
1.
I would love number one, yeah.
and I'm gonna say, even though I love Yuffie more, I can't really say anything bad about Tifa. The only negative thing about Tifa is that Yuffie and Elena are in the same game as her. So
I can't argue that logic.
for my number 1, I'm gonna be curious if this is another one that Ojunix would have seen coming. Is Juri Han from Street
yeah.
Fighter.
That does follow through.
I admit, I was actually kind of surprised that you would have two from the same franchise. I thought
Yeah.
maybe you were.
But I do, and well, here's the thing: is Cammy used to be my number 1 Street Fighter girl, and even when Juri first got introduced, she didn't immediately take Cammy's spot. I had to actually get time to get acquainted with her character, because at first she's just a villain girl that beats people up, and she didn't really have any personality beyond that. The first run around. There's also the fact that part of my thing for her is also the fact that I do have to admit I have a foot fetish. And in Street Fighter 4, the problem with that was everybody had the same size feet. Her feet were just as big as Ryu's feet, so it looked stupid on her character model. So that wasn't an appealing thing when I played Street Fighter 4 when they introduced her. Because there was also versions of Cammy's outfit where she didn't have her boots on and her feet were just fucking huge as well. It didn't make sense. It's like her shoes, when her shoes are on, are smaller than her feet are when her feet aren't covered by anything. How did that fucking happen? Like, how did nobody see that as a problem? But Juri, as the games went on, kind of became more of an anti-hero, and she actually has a tragic past. Her freaking parents were killed by Shadow Lu. Whose parents aren't killed by Shadow Lu in Street Fighter? And she's helped the good guys out a number of times, even though she also does a lot of things out of pure greed, because that's her real motivation. But when it comes to certain people, she's gonna fuck their shit up because she actually considers them bad. She hates Bison more than anybody because he also, aside from the thing with her parents, he took one of her eyes out.
Oh yeah, that's revenge time.
Yeah,
Maybe because if I remember, she helps Cammy in was it 5?
It was 5. This is the storyline of 5. She helps Cammy when she's dealing through shit, and she fought Vega and kept calling him perv repeatedly during their fight, which is
Gee,
funny.
I wonder. I wonder why.
So she's an interesting character that at first I I mean, I thought she looked fine, but she took a while to grow on me, and now she's my favorite video game waifu, bar none. So that's my number one. Matt, what is your number one?
Have I ever mentioned when I was younger, I was a big Nintendo boy?
Really? I would never guess that.
I still have my NES from when I was 8 years old. It still works if I want it to.
Nice.
Just takes a lot to plug it in and to make it work. That being said, my easy go-to for number one has to be a particular princess that gets saved, but also can help you out once in a blue moon, and that would be Zelda.
And the fact that it took this long, she finally got a game where she was actually the protagonist for once.
I would argue there's been other things where she's been protagonist in too, but a mainstream one would not be bad. 40th anniversary just hit, by the way, too. Every design is always something new and intriguing for me to look at. Loved a lot of the designs they made. Love a lot of the characterization that's come into her over the last couple decades, because she did start off very milquetoast, not really doing anything, never really even had much dialogue. But she's grown into the role a lot, especially around the time of Ocarina time, where she can literally save you getting out of the big final dungeon.
I think that was really, I think Ocarina was the biggest when she finally started stepping.
That was that was the first big stride in getting her to be a really good proactive character. And she's been going from strength to strength after that, as far as I'm concerned. Again, I haven't had a major design for her that I have hated since, and the character seems to only keep growing from there. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, the interesting
Elvish waifu, ta-da!
The interesting thing is each version of Zelda is actually technically a different person.
Yeah,
just a reincarnation of the same person.
Just a reincarnation,
yeah. Same with Link.
Interesting thing is, if we were doing a top cartoon waifus list, the Zelda cartoon from the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, the Princess Zelda from that was actually my first crush as a kid that I actually acknowledged was a crush. So that's an interesting one.
Again, she wasn't hard on the eyes.
I mean, I can't argue there either.
So, Ojunix, your number one.
My number one, and I hate Matt because he beat me to it. My number one is Samus Aran as well.
I was wondering if there's actually going to be a duplicate here or not.
Yeah, well, we finally got one. And so, fun fact, so I never played the first two original games. I actually did try to play Super Metroid and the Super Nintendo, but I was still at the age where I just did not really understand how to play video games. I was kind of dumb when I was young then. I didn't really understand how to play video games
I can't tell you how many hours I spent on Metroid 2.
I didn't really start playing video games correctly until N64 and my Game Boy Color when I started playing Pokemon, funny enough. Anyway, but I would then, but of course, around that time when the Game Boy Advance, I got Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid Fusion. And it was at that point where I became a big fan of Samus. And of course, I also did know I did not realize the whole thing about Samus was, oh, by the way, this is a chick.
By the way, there's a lady under all that?
Wait, yeah, yeah, all this time I was like, damn, this guy is awesome, and I love the power armor. And then I actually did.
And then you see Zero Suit.
Yeah, well, yeah. And depending on which game, she's either wearing like a two-piece black swimsuit, and orange booty shorts with an orange tank top, or in the way she is more, for the most part, traditionally
more modern portrayed. Yeah,
is
the
zero suit, and I'm like, hot bam. But yeah, and of course, I just fell in love with the character, and of course, both love and hate her tragic backstory that really basically killed all of her people, including her parents, which, by the way, he also ate them. Which would so explain why she's
so fervent on kicking his ass.
Yes. And of course, the history with the mother brain, and of course, her upbringing by the Chozo, aka the bird people, and why, explain how she is what she is, because she is basically a human Chozo hybrid. She still looks all human.
The Chozo made her suit.
yeah, and basically gave her. I mean, she's basically super powered
Basically,
too.
you gave her superpowers through it. Yeah.
But and even though she is, she earned the reputation of being the number one baddest, best bounty hunter in the galaxy, which always kind of makes me wish there was a game where you actually see like her early days, how she earned that rep. And technically, we got with Zero Mission, but I feel like there should have
Zero
been something
minus.
more to it. Yeah, something like that. But I also love the fact that even all that badass armor and how she just mercilessly destroys her enemies, there's still a very soft spot in her because if you save the little critters in Super Metroid, or in fact, better yet, you would also find them in Fusion too.
Yep.
They get around, but it just shows like she has a heart. It's just she just funny way she hides it under that armor because she's got a lot of bad shit happened to her, so now she is putting her all to destroy evil, as you would put it. Well, then when nobody's
And
looking,
somehow becomes a mother figure for one of her greatest enemies.
yes, she became a mother to a baby Metroid, and less said about Other M.
Yeah, I don't mention Other
she,
M. Other M is that game that we just kind of forget was ever there because there's a lot of bad with Other M.
But she grew to love that baby, so it's like, yeah, that was by the way, Super is my absolute favorite for a lot of people. So yeah, that's why Samus is my number one.
All right. Well, those are each of our top 5 video gaming waifus. Who would you all pick? Let us know in the comments. Let us know that your angry Chun-Li isn't on the list. I'm sure you will.
Chun-Li will destroy your thighs.
Until next time, happy gaming.
Think lies save lives.
And with that, you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to do that like, comment, and subscribe thing that everyone's always talking about. Otherwise, Ozina will be angry. You don't want to see Ozina when she's angry.